everybody, welcome back to another episode of A Gardener's Journey Homestead. I am Barbara. I'm so glad that you're here. Today is going to be exciting, and I know that it's going to be very, very helpful. I'm going to be talking about today the 4 to 5 things that you need to be doing now before it's time to start your seeds and get ready for the spring and summer season in 2023. So for those that are brand new to me, thank you so much for stopping by. I'm in Tennessee. I'm in Zone 7A. And so I have a pretty long growing season. My growing season is about 181 days. So that's the benefit of living in the South and living in a climate to where you can grow lots of things for a very long time. But what I want to do today is kind of talk to you. I'm really focused on organization and efficiency this year, and I'm sure for years to come. For those that are new to me, again, I'm a new gardener. This will be my 3rd year gardening, so I still consider myself very new. And each year I'm trying to learn more and get better. So that's what this channel is all about, is just taking you on my journey along with me and us growing together, right? And for those that have been with me since the very beginning, thank you so much for continue to pop in and continue to grow with me, as well as give me tips on my journey as well. So let's kind of talk about my first couple of years in gardening. So the first year there was no organization, no efficiency, because I didn't know anything about that, right? I was just trying to put seeds in the ground, and I was trying to just figure out, like, if I put this seed in this dirt, you're telling me a plant's gonna come up, right? So that's kind of where I was. Year 2 was like, okay, I was a little bit successful in the first year, but let's see if I can do it again, right? I mean, with each, as time has progressed, I've kind of grown my spaces more and more. So right now I currently have 5 raised beds behind my house. I have a high tunnel that's 30 by 96, and I have an in-ground garden space that's about 25 by 100. So a lot of growing space, hoping to expand that more in the future, but I got a lot to work with right now. But one of the things that, as I've learned over the last 2 years, is that organization is key as well as efficiency. And it's not just key because it's going to make you better, but I know for me personally, gardening is like my side job. I shouldn't even say job. It's my side passion. I love it, but I run a full-time business. So it's not something that I do every day, all day. I'm not a full-time farmer. I'm not a full-time gardener. So it's really important because my minutes, my seconds, my hours, they count. And so I have to be really organized all around in my life. And so I wanted to apply that to the garden. And so today I want to kind of talk about things that you should be thinking about now, things you should go ahead and doing now, so that it's not, you're in the middle of seed starting and you're not in the middle of direct sowing and transplant. You're like, oh, let me get that, right? I know last year for us, it was a huge financial investment in buying some stuff to do seed starting. Like, we had to buy the shelves, we had to buy grow lights, we had to buy heat mats, we had to buy pots, because that was our first year really doing it on, I'm not going to say a large scale, but just really doing it, like for real, for real. And so I've fallen in love with seed starting because, one, it is the most economical way to grow your own food, number one. Number 2, if you're planting in a large space like I am, trying to buy all of those in plant starts is going to cost you a lot of money. That's not the best use of my dollars. So let's jump in and let's talk about, and again, I'm just taking you on the journey that's in my mind and what I'm doing. And if it blesses you and it helps you, fantastic. If it doesn't work for your lifestyle or you don't think it applies to you, throw out what doesn't work, keep what does work, right? So I'm trying to be thoughtful. So this is like the 3rd week. We're coming up on the 3rd week of January. So of course I've done videos where I've ordered the bulk of my seeds already. And so if you didn't see that video, definitely go back and take a look at that. And I also did a video on, hey, before you even buy seeds, this is what you should do first, like take an inventory. So those are the things that I've done. And so this is kind of the next step, right? So I have my notes here that I typed up that I was doing just for me. And I thought this would be something good to share. So number 1 is this, is you want to go ahead and clean your pots and your trays from last season if you haven't already done that. So I'm in the process of doing that now, and I got a lot of, it feels like a lot, right? When you're trying to, you're washing dishes already as a mom and, a wife and all that stuff, and then you got to wash your pots and trays. Now, when my daughter was home from college, I kind of paid her to do it, and so she kind of got me halfway there, but she didn't finish. So that's on my list, is to wash all of my pots and all of my trays. You don't want to let that stuff sit in your tunnel or sit in your garage or sit in your shed and then just use it from year to year without washing it, because bacteria can set in. Any type of fungus can set in. You want to just start with a clean slate. At least I do, right? And so that's one of the things on my list to start doing now. I will be starting seeds. I've already started seeds like for the winter, just succession sowing, which will really go into my spring. I did a round of that last week, and I have a video on that as well that I can pop up here. But in terms of me starting for like the summer season, I'll start, I think I'm 14 weeks away from my from my last frost date. And so I will be starting seeds in the next 1 to 2 weeks for the summer season. So you don't want to get into that rhythm. And then for me, I'll be starting seeds like every week. I'm going to be taking a new approach to how I start and stagger my seeds. I will do a video on that as well. Last year, I kind of started really 90% of them all at the same time within days of each other, right? So 1 week, I kind of started the majority of my seeds. And this year, I'm going to kind of do a little bit of a different approach. But I started with new pots and new, because I didn't have anything, right? So I started with all new. But this year I've used for the spring, I used for last summer, I used for the fall, and now we're coming up on the next summer season. You want to make sure that you wash all of your pots and trays, in some nice warm soapy water, dry those things out and have them ready to go. So that's number one. Number two is start to look around and see what you have and what you need. So in one of the videos, I talked about just inventorying your seeds. Now you want to start looking at all the other stuff. And for me, I started thinking about what is all the stuff that I had to buy last year? What's the stuff that got broken last year? And I just thought of something that, I don't have a pen. One more thing I want to add to the list. Hopefully I'll remember when I get to that part. But what broke last year? What did not go well? What did you say, I need another one of those? But the summer has ended, the fall has passed, and you like, yeah, I do need that. And the reason why this is important is, one, you want to have all the stuff ready when you're ready to go. The second thing is availability, sheer availability. I don't know if you've noticed, but there's a lot more gardeners out there than it was 3 years ago, which means seeds are going much earlier than they normally do. Products on the shelf are going much earlier than they normally do. So availability is one, but also price. The prices keep going up. So in terms of like the seed starting shelves, like we use like I think it's a 6 shelf, like that was one of those stainless steel shelves or whatever. When I bought mine, I actually bought like 6 or 7 of them maybe 2 years ago, and I bought them for the root cellar. I didn't buy them for seed starting. I just so happened to have them. I think I paid $60 for those racks individually. And now when I looked the other night, it's $100. Like the cheapest one I saw was like $98, but they were all around $108 for the same shelf I bought literally less than 2 years ago. It's already $40 to $50 more per shelf. So that's another reason to start thinking about what do you have now and what do you need to get, because of availability and also the cost, right? So that's number 2, is just start thinking about what stuff do you need more of, what broke last year, what didn't work well, what did you have 1 of that you needed 2 of, all that kind of stuff. And then number 3 is let's start buying the stuff that we need. So once you take an inventory, and I have a list of stuff that's my, my list for me of stuff that I need to buy. But if this is on your street and you need to buy it too, then you go ahead and write it down for yourself about what you need to buy. So for me, I need to buy more pots, right? So for seed starting pots, so last year I did 1 whole shelf of seed starting. So that, again, like the stainless steel shelf, I think there's five shelves, not including the top shelf. I did 5 rows, and that was completely full. This year, I want to double that. So I want to have 2. And so I got to buy another shelf, right? Well, actually, I do have another shelf that I can use, but If not, if I don't want to pull one from the root cellar, I have to buy another shelf, and I need to buy more pots. So last year I bought all of those pots to fill up all of those shelves. You guys know I'm a bootstrap farmer. Girl, love, love, love bootstrap farmer. So that's where I get my pots and my trays, and they are great, great, great quality. So I did that last year, but now I got to do it again because I'm gonna have a whole nother shelf, right? And I'm telling you, last year, I just kept swiping my credit. I just kept swiping, because I needed the stuff and I didn't have any of it, so I just had to keep buying. But I knew that it was an investment, because if I was doing the same amount of seeds this year that I did last year, I really wouldn't have to buy, because I already have the pots and stuff. But because I'm doubling what I'm doing, now I gotta go buy another shelf, more pots, and more trays. So that's one thing. The other thing is heat mats. I'm starting my seeds indoors, so I need more heat mats, because again, I'm doubling what I'm doing. Now for you, if you're doing the exact same setup, the exact same amount, and you already have that, then you don't have to worry about buying that. But think about, are all your heat mats good? Did any of them, break or not stop working? You want to be thinking about that now, because you don't want to get to the week of you starting your seeds and you're like, oh, I don't have a heat mat, and you go on Amazon and they're sold out. You don't want that. So that's why we want to start planning now, start jotting down, taking notes as you're going through this video about the stuff that you need to buy. And then the other thing is, for me, I'm trying to spread out my cost. Instead of me paying, $500 or $600 at one time for all the stuff I need, well, I still have a little bit of time, right? If I'm starting my seeds in 2 weeks, and I may not need all of my heat mats and all of my shelves in, because again, I'm going to stagger how I do my seeds. I'm not going to do everything at one time like I did last year. So I still got a little bit of time for some of this stuff on my list. So on my list are pots, trays, heat mats, and then also plant markers. Those are the little tags that you identify what your plants are. Y'all, again, and maybe y'all are way more got it together than me. But last year, y'all, I was starting seeds, ran out of plant markers. I had to go on Amazon. Then I had to wait 2 days. And for me, when I'm in the flow and my mind, my brain, and my body is there, I need to have all my stuff, and I need to be able to get it done. Because when I have to go on Amazon, pull out my phone, find the order, and wait 2 days, the momentum, in 2 days, I'm on to something else. Business crisis has happened, kids happening, husbands happening, all that's happening. So I'm just trying to get to a place where it's efficient, it's organized, and I have what I need. If that applies to you, then you go ahead and write that down too. So plant markers, I just ordered 1,000 of those. I did an Amazon order last night, kind of for my first batch. So I did 1,000 of those. And then also, if you haven't bought seeds yet, go ahead and get your seeds, right? I know for us, hose pipes are on the list. We have gone through so many hose pipes. Again, you guys have heard me say that you get what you pay for. I am still a work in progress. Side note, funny story or funny life. So between my husband and I, we've been married almost 25 years. So from the beginning of our marriage until now, except I'm in reform, like I'm doing better, typically I go for the cheapest option and he's gonna go for the most expensive. I don't care what it is. If we're buying a refrigerator, if we're buying a sofa, if we're buying something to eat at the grocery store, he is gonna go for the most expensive and I'm usually going for the cheapest, right? That's how our marriage was in the beginning. I have learned over time, and he's been always right, you get what you pay for. You get what you pay for. So with these hose pipes, y'all, these $19.99 hose pipes, they keep breaking. And trying to get a 50 foot when you need 100 foot and then putting two 50 foots together, it don't work. So for us, we just have to buy the heavy duty, nicer hose pipes, because we have gone through so many hose pipes. We've left the water on, they've busted. That's on us. That's just negligence, right? So for us, I know right now that we need another hose pipe. We need another thing. I don't know what you call it, but it's something on the thing at the tunnel where the water's like going everywhere when you turn it on. It's like an attachment or something. We need another one of those. So again, I'm making notes on my list so that I can go ahead and start getting that stuff now, looking at it and spread out my costs, and then also just availability. Because when May hits and June hits, everybody is going to be looking for the same thing. So hose pipes is on our list. Plant markers also. So not just the plant markers like the little tags, also the actual marker that you use to write on the plant marker. I know for me, I'm always, where's my plant marker? Where's my plant marker? I keep one at the tunnel. I keep one at home. That's not working. I need more than one at the tunnel, and I need more than one at home, right? And so I ordered a pack of those last night. So again, if that's something that applies to you and you know that you're always looking for one, or you know your Sharpie or your ink always dries out, go ahead, write that on your list, and let's get it done in terms of just knowing what we need. So that's another one for me. Also, if you label your stuff, like if you're freezing a lot of stuff during the summer and preserving a lot of stuff, freezer bags, freezer labels, canning jars, canning lids, like all of that stuff. So I have a pretty good supply of lids, jars, bands, and all that stuff. But for you, again, I know it's January. You may be saying, well, the summer is not until like 4 or 5 months away. But I'm telling you now, if you can think about it now, put it on your list. So that way, when you go to Walmart, when you go to the store, maybe you pick up a case of jars right then, if you can't afford to get 5 at a time, right? It's going to save you in the long run. And you get in the mindset of being efficient. You get in the mindset of being organized, and you get in the mindset of being prepared, right? Other things that are on my list is potting mix. Seed starting mix. Went through a lot of that, right? Again, I'm picking up these little onesie twosies bags at the depot, ones and twosies bags at the Lowe's, right? For me, really for what I'm growing and the size that I'm growing, I really need to buy it in bulk. I haven't found a place yet to buy it in bulk, but I'm looking. So if you're in my area, let me know if you know a place that I can get it in bulk, right? If I can just get it delivered to my house, that's even better. That way, I'm not buying all these individual bags of seed starting mix or potting mix. Now, I have on my list to make my own. And I know that you can make your own. It's on my list, but I don't know if that's going to get done. If it doesn't get done, I'm going to have to buy it. So either way, either I'm going to have to buy the supplies to make my own in bulk, or I'm going to have to buy it. But either way, it's on my list. So that way I know I need to be thinking about that now. I need to be planning for it. I need to be budgeting for it, because we went through a lot of bags. Also, fertilizers is on my list. Y'all know that I did a heavy emphasis on fertilization in my garden this past summer. And I think that made a world of a difference, because the first year, I didn't do that because I didn't know, right? I didn't know what I was doing. Second year, I knew a little bit more what I was doing. And I bought a lot of different fertilizers. I bought Happy Frog. I bought one called Nautical. I bought AgriPro. I bought Fox Farm. I bought worm castings. I bought a whole bunch of stuff. And I think it all worked really, really well. But I was buying it as I was seeing it. I was buying it here, buying it there. And so I probably didn't get the best prices on some of this stuff. And now I've kind of narrowed down the ones that I really, really like. And so for me, I'm going to go ahead and start buying me some fertilizers now. Because again, y'all, I got a big space that I'm trying to fertilize and, to grow. Again, for you, if you're just growing in a small space, then you wouldn't need as much fertilizer, right? It doesn't make sense for you to buy it in bulk. But if you're farming or growing stuff on a larger scale, and you know that you already use that stuff and you're paying premium because you're getting it one here and one there, then go ahead and think about that now and put that on your list. That's what I'm going to do. And what I'm trying to do is not have to spend, a gajillion dollars June, July, and August in the middle of the summer. Because y'all, last year, I'm telling you, I was just swiping because I needed my stuff and I didn't have anything. So I'm trying to be more planful this year and kind of spread out my cost. I'm trying to think what else is on my list. So I got pots, trays, heat mats, fertilizers, plant markers, plant tags, potting mix, seed starting mix, hose pipes. It was something else. It just lost me. It was something else I was thinking of. Insect covers. If you need insect covers, if you need insect netting, things to cover your plants. Trellising. That's a big one. Trellising is expensive. And I'm sure the price has gone up even more now. So again, if you know that you're going to be planting tomatoes and you used those little towers last year and they were trash and they were raggedy and you want to do some real trellising, go ahead, grab that stuff now. If you got somewhere to put it, if you got a shed to put it in, or if it can sit out, whatever, get it now if you can. And don't be fighting people in Tractor Supply trying to get your trellis stuff, because it's the last one on the shelf. Don't do that. Don't do that. Okay? So those are the things that come to mind in terms of stuff that you can be buying now, that you can be thinking about, going through your inventory, seeing what you have, what broke, what didn't work, what do you want more of, right? If you have other things that I have not mentioned, put them down in the comments so that you can help not just me, but anybody else who sees this video. Go ahead and put stuff down that you always keep a supply of, things that you wish you had a supply of, things that it sounds small, but when you forget, you're like, man, I wish I would have had more of that. Put it down in the comments, because I'm sure that I'm missing some stuff, and that'll help add to my list, and as well as to somebody else's. Okay? And then the very last thing that I have on my list that I'm doing now to prepare is doing a crop plan. A crop plan. And so basically, that is where I'm laying out what's going to go in my garden where. So what's going to go in the raised beds, what's going to go in the tunnel, what's going to go outside in the in-ground garden. That is important, especially for me, so that I know ahead of time now before I get to planting season and I'm like, I don't have no space. No, that really should have went there, right? It takes a plan. So for me, I'm in the process of kind of laying out my crop plan so I know what's going to go where, and also when, and also what successions am I going to do, right? So last year I did a succession of green beans, I did a succession of squash, and I did a succession of cucumbers, if I'm not mistaken. I think those were the only three. But thinking through what is going to be a succession and where am I going to put it. Also thinking through, like I have 2 beds of garlic right now. Those beds will not be ready and empty until June, right? And so I don't need to be thinking about putting something there before June, but I need to have a plan about what I'm going to put there in June when I harvest the garlic and what can make it before the season ends, right? Does that make sense? So be thinking about what you're going to put where. If you have, or if you do a lot of container gardening, that's another thing, y'all. I have a green stalk too. Let me see. My green stalk, I didn't do anything this fall and winter. It needs to be just redone over, right? I ran out of time. I ran out of capacity. I ran out of space in my brain, in my hand. I didn't have time to keep up my green stalk, but I still love it. I still want to have one. I'm thinking about moving it to the tunnel, but I think I'm going to keep it out here. It's right here on my back patio because I like to see it when I'm in my kitchen. It brings me joy. But that's another thing, another space that I can grow. So again, if you're not familiar with what a green stalk is, I have a video on that. It's a vertical container gardening. So if you're doing that, think about what you need for that, right? Also think about what things you want to put in containers. So like for me, I do some of my herbs in my tunnel, in one of my circular raised beds, but I also do quite a bit in containers. So like my mint, like I don't want that in a space where it can choke out everything else, or because it's invasive, right? So I like to put those things in containers. I need to be thinking through now, do I need more containers? If so, let me grab some. Where do I want to grab them? Do I want to get them from Walmart? Do I want something nice from Home Depot? Do I want to get it from a nursery? All of those things. Y'all, it starts to add up. It starts to add up. At least for me it does. If y'all finding a way to get it done on the low, let me know on the cheap. It starts to add up. So you want to be thinking about those things now in your crop plan. Not only what you're going to plant, but where is it going to go, especially if you have multiple spaces. If you have 2 raised beds, you still need to figure out, okay, what's going, in this bed, what will be planted together, companion planting, like all the things. Have it written out. Have it laid out, whether you do it on pen and paper, whether you do it on the computer, whether it's on your iPhone, what have you. So that's the stuff that I'm working on and that I'm thinking about. And I thought it would be helpful for you to just kind of go through with me as I'm going through, and you can kind of do your own preparation list as well, right? So I hope that this was helpful for you as you kind of got a peek into my brain and what I'm doing and what I'm preparing for. It's the third week of January, and I believe that me doing this now is going to save me in the long run. Not only save me dollars, it's going to spread out my costs. It's going to help with availability as well. And then hopefully I won't have a need for something and can't get it, or like, man, I forgot about that. Another thing, this is what just came back to me. Those little support clips. That's not the right word, but when you're trying to clip your tomatoes to the trellis and things like that, those little clips, put that on your list. Go ahead and get that now, right? If you know that you're going to be trellising tomatoes and you know that you liked them last year and you don't have enough, go ahead and get that now. Weed fabric. That's another one to think about. It's all coming to me. I didn't have that on my list. And I don't have a pen in here. Yes, I do. Hold on a second. We back. So I'm like, I do. Yeah, I do have stuff in here. Okay, so the clips. Trellis clips. Y'all, what else did I say? I don't remember. I'm gonna have to go back to the video and see what I said. Trellis clips and was something else. Oh, weed fabric, which we have plenty of that. I don't think we need any more of that, but I'm gonna write that down as well. And then hose pipes were not on my list, and the little hose things. But y'all, put other stuff down on the list that you know of, okay? Put other stuff down in the comments box that you know of. But I hope that this was helpful. Thank you guys so much for joining me today. If you like what you're seeing, please subscribe to my channel. Tell a neighbor, tell a friend. Thank you so much for spending a part of your day with me. I hope that whenever you see this, you have an amazing, amazing day. And remember, gardening is a journey. Let's grow together. I'll see you soon.